Welcome back to MITA Unshackled here at ICBC with some old friends from Ispire.
Yee, happy to be here. Love you guys.
Demetri Downing with our co-hostess with the mostest.
Destiny Blanco.
You need to get the mic a little closer.
Can you hear me now, Mr. Krabs?
And two of our old friends. How are things going for you guys?
Wonderful. ICBC is one of our favorite shows in the world, if not the best. So
quickly reintroduce yourselves to the audience. You guys have been on previous MITA podcasts.
Absolutely. I'm Luna Stour, Chief Impact Officer at Ispire.
And I'm Adam Rothstein, Senior Vice President of Revenue at Ispire.
The one and onlys.
Your job sounds a lot more fun than his job.
Well, I get to do things like speak today on panels and educate and network and make sure that the heart and the soul of the industry stays in place. So it's not a bad gig.
I have huge respect for you for speaking like that in front of people.
So I want to talk a little about you guys' cannabis journey and where you guys are at. But first, we got to go through the fundamentals. What is Ispire? So the people that out there don't know what Ispire is. Everybody should know what Ispire is at this point. But if you could just go through quickly what Ispire is.
Sure. Yeah, we're one of the largest vape manufacturers in the world, specializing in hardware for cannabis. So 510 thread cartridges, all-in-one units, and batteries. Build the spec. So we have one of the largest spaces in the world currently in Shenzhen in China. We're building out manufacturing in the U.S. where we keep units stocked as well.
Nice.
We're looking for the right partners to grow with internationally.
And when you say build the spec, I'm thinking Mark Cuban from the Dallas Mavericks is going to do the Ispire Dallas Mavericks vape pen. And
you're not too far off from some
hey, the
things
NBA is open to cannabis, so I feel like we're not far off. You can manifest that.
I know. I just felt it. I felt it there.
The world's ready.
So Chief Impact Officer, what exactly is that?
So, my role started out more in the sales space and the revenue space. And I realized that a lot of what was driving revenue was actually, love in a lot of ways. So for me to really be fully in the social justice realm, really focusing on how we are making this a more emotionally safe and sustainable industry, I kind of had to step away from a more formal sales role and really just focus on building out the relationships that are really going to support the kind of industry that we want and need. Distribution networks, there's so much a lack of trust in the space, and building that and building long-term relationships is what's making or breaking people's ability to succeed.
I'm trying to figure out how to change that acronym to Chief Officer of Love, or Chief
CLO.
CLO.
CLO. Yeah,
the CLO.
Now that sounds. You guys have an amazing community, community-minded company. Amazing community-oriented team.
Very committed.
We love hanging out with you guys. You're going to be in Berlin.
Absolutely. Yep.
Next ICBC.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we were all out at the last ICBC together in Berlin, right?
Yeah, it was wonderful. Created a bunch of great content. They're doing a lot of good work. A lot of Germans are here, and a lot of folks from the EU are here.
Yeah, and both of you guys have been involved in cannabis legalization for a decade. I mean, you guys are both like journeymen and women from out of California. Mm-hmm. What do you guys think of the ICBC model and kind of how it's going on in Europe and stuff? Because it feels pretty good.
Yes.
There's a lot of excitement here. Like I said, when you've been at tons of shows with us around the U.S., the excitement here is very much like it was in California 5-10 years ago as the industry was starting its ramp up. Obviously, the whole world's looking at California and the U.S. From a regulatory standpoint of framework of how to build it. But I foresee the European Union really taking off over the next 2 years. They'll probably be, at capacity, rocking and rolling before we become federally legal in the United States. But it's having these discussions out here and actually showing them the path to take. Because, we took the unbeaten path and kind of figured out what to do, what not to do, and to find the right people to build and write the books of the industry with. We can come consult and give that knowledge to them. And they're excited to take it in, right? Like, this is my favorite show of all. I mean, you can probably say the same.
Absolutely.
Because there's real people at the show who are ready to work.
Yes, they don't show up unless they're ready.
Where you come into a lot of these shows that are B2B and consumer facing, and maybe 5 to 10% of the people you actually have conversations with are actually ready to get the ball rolling on something.
Yeah.
Where here is almost like every single person, one after another, really wants to do things. So the excitement and the energy in the room is one thing. But having actual real conversations and people who are responsive the next day to really get moving means they're going to be the pioneers in their respective countries to make it happen.
So Hans leaves the ICBC. So Franz, we need to use Ispire for our hardware. Franz says, but we need to have a chief officer of love, Hans.
Yes, they know.
Hardware is important, but we need... Apparently, all the good companies have a chief officer of love.
And I think that's one of our value adds, honestly. We all come from cannabis, right? We have cannabis PTSD, and we're part of the culture, and we can deliver our services from that frame, right? It's not being a hardware invoice. It's being, how can we support your full business ecosystem and how can we drive that forward with the whole industry?
Definitely. Yeah.
What-
No, that's awesome. I see you guys are also sponsoring the ICBC.
Yes, we're the main sponsors this year. We're
Oh,
so
look at that.
proud.
Amazing.
Yeah. And I'm speaking on a panel later today on media and marketing, so that's really exciting.
You got some really cool bags too. I got one of those over there.
Hey,
Right as I walked in, I was
With the new
looks
lockup on
awesome.
it? Yeah.
Is that a hemp bag? It seems like really good quality. I'm not sure what it is.
It's beautiful. Maybe it is hemp. That's a good question. ICBC designed them and produced them for us. We
So what
just
do you-
sponsored
Really
them.
So you're
doing it.
speaking today about marketing and media, you said?
Yes, with Simone Espinosa from Enrola. And yeah, just talking about, to Adam's point, a lot of the things that we've learned and the harms that have been caused, we can help navigate people through them, through the lack of ability to advertise and the shadow banning, to how to use humor, sharing, engagement, and really what the future looks like based on what we've learned in the past, and just doing that consulting that he's talking about to make sure that people aren't making the same mistakes that we did.
We'll have to shut down our podcast and make sure everybody comes down to see you. What time are you speaking at?
In a few minutes, 2:30.
All right. So what? Oh, sorry. Do you have any question? Because I want to ask something, but it's okay. So I always talk over her.
No, you're good. You're good. I'm here.
What you guys have been involved in legalization in states across the United States, medicinal adult use. You've been through the whole journey. What is unique about? And now you're kind of European experts as well. What is the unique differences between European cannabis that you're finding so far, and say, I guess that's so broad of a question, but is that answerable? Like,
Yeah.
are there things that you feel different about Europe?
It's, like I said, it's going to ramp up quicker. I think just culturally,
Yeah.
they have their shit together more than we do. Just pardon my French. But it's also, again, the framework's already laid out from California, Colorado, the rest of the states that have flipped there. And while we're all different, that honestly helps them here because they can pick and choose certain aspects from a certain state that work. And we can consult them on that. Like, hey, this is what we'd recommend. If it were our business and our money, this is what we would really recommend. And we mean that from the heart, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because everyone we work with, their success is ultimately ours as we build this. So
Right.
Absolutely.
we would never steer them the wrong way because that's the only way up,
Yeah.
which is
It's just still very immature culturally, and the hearts and minds haven't been won. And as long as we keep having this like stigma from the police and people's fear, and the whether it's like the religious tradition or whether it's the age group or whether it's the fear of retaliation from the police, I feel like we're way farther ahead culturally, acceptance wise, in the United States than Europe. It's still very not cool to do it here. In a lot of places, it's pretty dangerous for folks. I don't know if they're locking them up and throwing away the key the way they are in the United States. I think it's more strict here, but a little less punitive, depending on where you are, obviously. But that's the thing that's a little frustrating for us out here, is to see how slowly they're moving. Now, like to his point, they're going to ramp up really quickly. But right now, it's like this is before even Prop 215 in California, even 25 years ago. This is even pre-collective status.
Yeah.
So we're really here to make sure that this takes off in a beautiful way. It's kind of our goal.
That's what I think is cool. What you said, they're moving kind of slowly, but that's kind of the thing I noticed here being in Europe versus America. People here are just nicer. I mean, they I'm walking in the middle and they're like, not move out of my way. They're kind of like, hey, I'm going to go around you, kind of very
More
slowly.
in flow,
Yeah.
less
So
pushy. Yeah, it's weird being
it's like
in
they're trying
America.
to understand it, then move slow about it.
maybe
in
if
a
they move
cautious
slow and
way.
steady, we won't play the hurry up and wait game we play in the U.S.
Yes,
Slow
that
and steady.
sounds lovely.
Slow
Well,
and steady wins the race.
one of the cool things about ICBC is the series of events that are programmed around it. I mean, this is not really programmed around it. ICBC came after Cannabis, but we can see there's Cannabis next door. It's a 3-day festival where it's like the culture and the environment, and the spirits of cannabis, like reigns supreme. But it's also a B2B event. So personally, I found it's a good educational event for those who want to learn a little bit more about the culture of cannabis in Europe. Now, there's a whole series of events that I know that you're aware of, like surrounding this as well, that I'm not even in touch with. You're like deep in the community.
Yeah, I mean, there's just like in, Mary Jane and Cannabis are the main events in Berlin and Barcelona, and Alex just captures a little bit more of to his point, a little bit more serious and focused people that are really ready to do good work, and they capture the fact that people are in town for that. And then before that, all of the local clubs, there's a lot of there's 200 to 300 clubs in Barcelona, so there's a lot of competition and saturation within one small space. So the differentiating factor is that they invite judges to come and judge local raws and local hash, or from all over the world. So Dabadoo is Mila, the hash queen. There was the Ego Clash Invitational. There's the Organic Cup. We're sponsors of Masters of Rosin at HQ. So they all kind of have their own little pop-up and week of festivities that usually ends in an award that those people can kind of be proud that they won the Masters of Rosin 2023, and they're surrounded by their peers, and it's a way for the local community to kind of have like a blue ribbon, kind of event, like a state fair, to come together once a year. Everyone's in town. They get Californian judges. They get people from all over the world, dozens of countries. So I think that's what is it's kind of like cannabis, right? You light up a joint in somewhere, and all of a sudden you find 5 people just coming to you like fireflies, right? Yeah. It's the same thing with these events. People just want to feel safe. People want to see one other person doing it, and then the whole vibe starts. So that's our whole goal, is just to keep the momentum pushing forward. And that's why we say this way up at Ispire, we want everything to start getting elevated from everything we do, from the most granular level of, the microaggressions and the day-to-day logistics of things, all the way to the grandiose, more of like the policy and the why we're here and how we leave this planet.
And everybody has their own way up with cannabis too, right? That could be music, it could be photography, it could be hiking, right? And there's so many things that cannabis enhances. So everyone does have their way up if they enjoy cannabis. It could even be medicinal purposes, right? Yeah. As your way to relieving that pain.
You guys could put together the Ispire 2-week cannabis tour, Barcelona, Cannabis.
It's called follow Luna Stour and get Ispire on Instagram, and you'll know exactly where we are. We have so much stuff going on this week, and it's really about good people, and you guys always attract the most beautiful people, and you have such a good heart, and you're so generous. You never really brand, MITA itself. You guys are just a platform, and I think that attitude is exactly what we need and what we need to model.
Education, networking, opportunity, and jobs. That's what we want
MITA
to be about, because everybody deserves that, right?
No license cap.
Inclusivity, everybody involved, just because, you're a bud tender, you deserve to come in and learn more and move up.
Exactly.
Come out and network, meet the people you need to meet.
That's why the consumer events are so cool, because now it's normalizing cannabis into society, right? People are seeing this is a thing. And there's interest of how do I get into it. So the industry will grow over time, so will awareness, and then ultimately education is paramount for our success.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And we will continue to do it side by side with you guys. I'm losing a lot of friends, but there was no licensing, license cap.
That's okay. You're still right. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, people get really protectionist about their little piece of the supply chain. That it gets kind of nasty.
Well, money speaks, but we speak louder. So.
Hey, that part.
So we are pleased to have you, and you are going to have a wonderful panel in a few minutes here. And so
we're going to prep yourself.
We have a back door here to watch. Actually, we can just sneak in.
We got the behind the scenes.
So we'll be
we know, Luna. We got the behind the scenes.
We'll be the ones shouting from the peanut gallery. Oh, we should do something.
Yes,
so
holler at me. Heckling.
And so, do you guys have a booth at Cannabis too? Or
yes.
You
sorry. At ICBC we do. Sorry,
yeah. So we'll be chilling together Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at Cannabis, and it'll be awesome. And we got a guest, and we'll let you guys go. Any closing thoughts, and how do people get a hold of you?
Follow us on @GetIspire, GETISPIRE. I'm Luna_Stour. This is Adam Rothstein. He's also Mr. Lovemore. If you spell out the word Mr. MISTER and Lovemore, he's an amazing artist and producer. You can follow him there.
Are you performing this time?
I will at the Mary Jane Festival in Berlin.
In Berlin?
Too bad you guys aren't here, but he's going to be performing. We'll capture it. We'll show you guys later.
Yes, much love to MITA.
And one last closing thought, which much respect for the artists. The rap battle that they have here
is the best.
Have you seen
the one that's Cannabis?
Yes.
Yeah.
We can't wait.
Ridiculous.
We'll meet you outside for that one.
I love that.
Yeah,
I would
so much
fly out
spirit.
here just for that thing.
It's badass.
I know.
All right. So you got to come to Cannabis. Got to come to ICBC. Definitely work with the Ispire people. And thank you for joining us.
Thanks,
guys. We love you guys.
That was another episode of MITA and Shackle.